An instant classic Sunday night in week one, the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens. We had some really good matchups, some really tight divisional matchups as well. Our biggest takeaways from week one coming at you on today's Peacock and Williamson.
NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson bring you expert NFL analysis every day in less than 30 minutes. Get an inside look at the NFL on the field and in the front office with elite breakdowns to next-level analysis and in-depth information only for the real NFL fans. This is Peacock and Williamson, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show. Brian Peacock alongside Matt Williamson at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Thanks, everybody, for making us your first listen on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We're back at it, a new season here, and can't wait to jump into what we saw from our first NFL Sunday of 2025. Make sure you all are subscribed up on YouTube and everywhere you get your podcast, and some news upcoming about our podcast and some changes that might be.
Yeah.
So stay tuned there. We will announce when the time is right to do the announcing. And this episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first ticket purchase. We got to start with Sunday night. I mean, what a phenomenal football game. And I don't know if I can, these guys better play again in January, right? Bills, Ravens. It was so much fun. It's what I'm going to call an instant classic. And 41-40 is the final. You can imagine how a game like that went. 22 fourth quarter points for the Buffalo Bills. We thought they were dead in the water. The Baltimore Ravens were running up the score. Derrick Henry could not be stopped until suddenly he put the ball on the turf and opened the window late for the Buffalo Bills to complete the comeback, which they did. Josh Allen making some phenomenal throws down the stretch, part of 394 passing yards for Josh Allen in a 41-40 victory. Man, what a way to cap off the first Sunday of the 2025 NFL season, Matt.
I mean, first off, I think it's such a privilege to be watching these two quarterbacks very much in their prime, same age, growing together. Both of them had some concerns, especially Allen, that rookie year or so, and now they're just battling out for MVP honors. And now Allen has a slight nose ahead of him now. And that seems like it's disrespectful to Mahomes and the Chiefs. And I'm not saying their time is come and gone, but they've had a pretty good time over the last 5 years too, where these two ones fighting for that spot are just it's so much respect and so much fun to see these guys battle. And I kind of hope it's like Manning and Brady, where they play all the, a regular season game as first place teams, and then again in the playoffs, time and time again. And again, I don't say the Chiefs are falling apart, but I mean, it was just back and forth. And then I thought, man, the Ravens are really starting to pull away from this thing. They were up 15. They had the Bills defense was on their heels trying to deal with Henry. Lamar's making plays like crazy. Even Nuke Hopkins is one-handed touchdowns in the end zone. Like, wow. I was listening to Robert Mays' podcast today, and I assume he's correct on this. He does his homework, and he's really good at his job. But when they took that 15-point advantage, and it looked like people were starting to kind of leave, and all of a sudden it's like Robert said that at that point, which the Ravens were averaging 9.7 yards per play. Every time they snapped the ball, they basically got a first down. It's like, what? This is an unstoppable force, but so is Allen. It's crazy.
I mean, yeah, Derrick Henry, you have to double take when you look at his line. 18 carries, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's 9.4 yards per carry.
Right.
Lamar Jackson, even better, 11.7 yards every time he took off and run. He only ran 6 times, but for 70 yards there. So the other part of this is you look at the Buffalo Bills, like awesome win, and the Baltimore Ravens did crack that window for him late in the game. But there's some things the Buffalo Bills need to figure out on defense, because now I know that the Baltimore Ravens are a good football team, and Lamar and Derrick Henry are pretty special, but you got to clean some things up, because you can't just count on 22 Josh Allen fourth quarter points every week.
1,000%. And having that guy is the great. I mean, I like Buffalo's team. I like their coaching staff. I really like Baltimore's situation better. But I also think that there's not an accident that Harbaugh, and he's inevitably where that last shoe drops, tends to find a way to lose these playoff games, these late games, tightens up a little bit late. Like, what was it, 4th and 3? I was losing my mind going really late in the game. Like, you can't take the ball out of Lamar's hands and give it to Allen. A field goal beats you. I don't care if you're on your own one or if you're the best punter in the world, it's going to put them on their own one. I'm not doing it. I am not saying I would rather snap the ball to Allen than Lamar. No chance.
That's one of those where I wonder what it feels like in the stadium. You're in Buffalo. It had to feel even more like the momentum had shifted, right? And that's what you're feeling at home. You're watching. It's like, man, this doesn't feel like the Buffalo Bills could possibly be stopped if they get the football. So you have to end with you having the football.
You have to. I mean, you at least have that club in your bag. You know, you at least have that conversation that it's at your disposal. You can't punt it away. And inevitably, Buffalo wins, you know.
Speaking of yards per play, 20.4 yards per catch for Zay Flowers, who was the number one receiver. One-handed catches notwithstanding for the Baltimore Ravens offense, and 3/4 of Lamar Jackson's passing yards went to Zay Flowers, 143 yards receiving of the 209 passing yards for Lamar Jackson. And on the other side, I think we have a development of Keon Coleman.
I'm glad you brought him up. Yeah.
11 targets, clearly the number one receiver. If you watch this game, you realize, okay, Josh Allen's number one target this year is going to be Keon Coleman, and you probably feel pretty good about having him on your fantasy football team right now. 8 for 112, and they weren't able to connect on that one red zone opportunity. It could have been an even bigger night for Keon Coleman. Clearly, Josh Allen's number one, although he threw the ball all over. 9 targets for Shakir, 9 targets as well for Palmer. Cook out of the backfield. Dalton Kincaid as well had the touchdown and 4 targets. So it's not like there was other. But this was a comeback mode, too, with 46 pass attempts. It felt like Keon Coleman was a big part of the game plan.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up because, first off, nice work by Flowers. He's kind of been trending this direction. I think we already know he's a good player. You know, I mean, when they called on him to do more, he did more. Likely was out, and, Flowers had a really nice day. Coleman, we didn't know. We've got some good camp reports. We do a lot of fantasy. All of our listeners do a lot of fantasy. Who's the wide receiver to own? Who's the pass catcher to have in Buffalo? I think they've wanted it to be Kincaid. Shakir's kind of held down that role, but he's got a low ceiling. He's a reliable, tough guy, slot player. But Coleman's the one that has the prototypical traits that you look at and go, oh, what if they got that guy? What if he turns into something,
And a trust factor, which is really big too. You have a big-time quarterback that's going to be throwing the ball a lot. Who does he trust? Who's he looking to first? And if Keon Coleman develops into that, it's a huge development for the league, for the Bills, and for fantasy footballers alike.
1,000%. These are 2 scary teams, and I do hope they meet again.
Now, the Buffalo Bills 1-0, the Baltimore Ravens 0-1. We both expect them to be playing in January and win a lot of football games this year. Similarly, we feel the same way, I'm sure, about the Kansas City Chiefs. And they fall to 0-1, the rare Friday nighter, the Brazil game, 27-21. It feels like ages ago now, but we haven't had an opportunity to talk about this game yet and how good Justin Herbert looked across from Patrick Mahomes in that week 1 affair with the Chargers now improving to 1-0 on the season.
Yeah, and it does seem like a lifetime ago. We've seen a lot of football since then. We've both been busy with our respective teams and all the stuff we've been doing since we chatted last. But we got to talk about this game. I mean, it wasn't quite Allen versus Jackson, but Herbert, I don't think, is too far off that level guy. And we know where Mahomes is. He's an all-time great already. And I think Herbert, 1 game. I mean, we should say that 100 times this podcast. So only 1 game. It's only week 1. But I thought Harbaugh just showed remarkable confidence in Herbert. Everyone just assumes they're going to run, cloud of dust, Michigan football, Big Ten, all that stuff. And I think Harbaugh's realized I took this job because of Justin Herbert. I'm going to trust him to no end. And I remember him even saying, and I would think of you, that Harbaugh is so good at pumping up his quarterback and getting behind him and instilling confidence that he said something along the lines of, I stay up at night trying to figure out how to get Justin Herbert in the Hall of Fame. That's so cool.
Yeah. And yes, Jim Harbaugh's teams are like, we are the bullies. We are not the bullied. They need to we're coming to town and not the other way around. And he does breed confidence into his entire football team, but including quarterbacks. And I think when he took the job in San Francisco, Alex Smith needed that. And I think when he took the job LA with the Chargers, Justin Herbert needed that. And we're seeing it. And if Justin Herbert starts stringing some more games like that, and just the level of throws you see from these 4 quarterbacks we've talked about, Herbert, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, it's unbelievable. And when we talk about our teams, as in the Steelers who you cover, the 49ers who I cover, and while those were really good football games too, I came away thinking, oh, man, it was okay. So Niners Seahawks play. It was a really close game. It was a thriller. But then I come away after watching the very next game on Sunday night between the Bills and the Ravens, and I feel like that feels like a different division than the other.
Yeah. It's like what? It's like
SEC when versus FCS level.
Like when I was a kid, and it's probably still the same. You were in 3rd grade. You're the new guy, and then when you're in 4th grade, you're the old dude in Little League, and you're like, man, I'm pretty good. And then you're the 5th grader, and you're like, oh, I'm not the best player in the league at all anymore. Not that I ever was. You probably were. But like when you bump up in levels and like,
dude, that is exactly how it is. And so when I'm playing quote unquote majors in Little League, it's 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, essentially.
Yeah.
When you're the 4th grader, it's like, oh, cool. Like I was good enough to make the majors, but it's like I'm the worst player here because I'm small and scrawny and skinny, and 2 years makes a really big difference. And then once you're a 6th grader, you're like, oh man, I'm a cleanup hitter, and they expect me to play an important position on defense. They want me to start pitching. The team, and that's kind of what it feels like watching these quarterbacks.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned our teams. Like Purdy played really well. Rodgers played really well. Best the Steelers quarterback situations looked in 1,000 years. And then the Sunday night game comes on. It's like, those guys are a lot better.
I hope not. Those guys. Right.
Yeah, they're a lot better.
And real quick on one note each here for the Chiefs and the Chargers. Omarion Hampton, clearly the running back one. Najee Harris got 1 carry in this game to Omarion Hampton's 15. I think you could probably, want more from Omarion Hampton in those 15 carries. And then the Xavier Worthy injury. I mean,
I thought that set them back heavily because I felt like they gave him like an end around. I thought they wanted to get him the ball a lot. And I feel like Andy Reid took his game plan and had to throw half it in the fire right away because no Rashee Rice. Kelsey looks old.
He's old. He is old. Yeah, he still got the touchdown though.
Right. But he's not the dynamic get open no matter what guy anymore.
More from NFL Sunday week number 1, including those really good football games with the Pittsburgh Steelers, San Francisco 49ers, and some other very tight, very important. These week 1 games matter just as much as week 18, Matt, for some division opponents. We'll get to next. This episode of Peacock and Williamson brought to you by Prize Picks, a very special offer from Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. We make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right means cashing in. With football back, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on all the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes, all in less than 60 seconds. And this week, you might have been able to get involved on Prize Picks with some max discounts. For example, Dak Prescott on Thursday, you only needed 0.5 passing yards to hit the more. For Lamar Jackson, again, 0.5 passing yards. Coming up, we've got some special max discounts, so look forward to next week. Travis Kelce, you only need the 0.5 receiving yards. And for Patrick Mahomes, the following week, only 0.5 passing yards. So look out for those max discounts on Prize Picks on your way to your first $5 lineup. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. I know some of you folks pay what feels like too much at the gas pump, right? So don't leave money behind. Are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving that money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use our limited code touchdown to get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. At first, I wasn't too sure. It's like, this feels too good to be true, but it's totally legit. You can even look it up on a map and find out exactly which gas stations you can get some cash back at. Real people are getting paid to just make their daily commute, and you can too. Plus, cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now by using our limited time promo code touchdown. Again, a limited time, get 25 cents per gallon bonus back. That's promo code touchdown. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Let's go to one of the, I was going to say, Matt, when we started this podcast, that how about those Steelers and Jets putting together the best game of Sunday? And it turned out not to be the best game of Sunday. We still got the Monday nighter to go, which should be a lot of fun as well with the Bears and the Vikings. But the bizarro world of Justin Fields playing for the team he started for last year and Aaron Rodgers starting against the team he played for last year. Or I don't even know if I said that right, but you guys know what I mean.
First time in history in week 1 that's happened.
That's wild. And both quarterbacks played really well. That might have been the best I've ever seen Justin Fields play.
It definitely was. Yeah, it definitely was. I thought he was phenomenal. I'm rooting for him. People that knew him around here said, great kid, loved him, works hard. And he's gradually gotten better each year. But this was a really leap in the right direction. What I've been saying around here is if you weren't a Steeler fan or a Jets fan, you don't care who wins. This was about as entertaining a game as there was, except for last night.
Right.
And nobody would have thought that. The lowest over-under of the week times 1,000. Steeler defense was really, really bad, but then they made a couple plays late. Really, really bad. And then made a couple plays late. Rodgers was really good, though. People are losing their mind around here about Rodgers.
So that's what I wanted to ask you about, because it's like, oh, look at this. We got a future Hall of Famer, comes in, throws 4 touchdowns, and you nearly lose the game still. So Talk to me about that Steelers defense. Is it rust? Is it extended preseason? Or is this just going to be a different unit than we're used to seeing?
I'm expecting the defense to be really, really good. Like I often said, I expect it to be top 5. They've invested in it. Ramsey, blah, blah, blah. I was blown away with how bad their run defense was. They got after Fields pretty well, but just couldn't get him on the ground. And they also kind of were mush rushing him, trying to keep him in the pocket, and he made them pay. On like a per throw basis, the Jets offense was really, really good. So the run defense was horrendous, and you knew they were going to run the ball like crazy. But I also got to say, I'm not just making excuses for my team. I came away very impressed with Fields, both those tackles that they've drafted high. The 2 defensive ends they've drafted high, the Williams brothers, and really the coaching staff. The coaching staff, I thought, if I'm a Jets fan, if I'm a Jets fan and a Browns fan today, my team's lost, but I kind of felt like I won. Like this, maybe they were not the worst 2 teams in the AFC. You know what I mean?
I shied away in my fantasy leagues from Garrett Wilson this year just because I wasn't sure about the volume and the passing situation with Justin Fields at quarterback. But man, it looked really good in week 1, and Garrett Wilson's a phenomenal talent and nearly had a second touchdown in that game, 7 for 95 and a score for Garrett Wilson. So I thought that was a connection that is something that is pretty important for the New York Jets' success this year. And then on the other side, DK Metcalf was covered a lot by Sauce Gardner in this game. He only had 4 catches, but I feel like it was a really big impact on those 4 catches too.
Huge. So much of the Steelers' production was after the catch. They couldn't protect very well. They couldn't run the ball at all. So Rodgers is getting it out after the catch, getting guys in stride. And speaking of the Jets and Sauce, they basically, almost all of DK's production came when Sauce wasn't on him. They threw at every other defensive back, whether it's to Austin or Jonnu or whoever, or Metcalf wasn't on Sauce, which wasn't very often. So the Jets still have some holes, but I came away pretty impressed with New York.
Just speaking of that protection, we're going to move on to some other games here. Broderick Jones, I thought
might have a nightmare.
The problem, yeah.
He was a nightmare. He let up at least 3 sacks himself, and just when it looked like he was kind of turning the corner, it was pretty bad.
Okay.
But Fashanu and Membu were really good.
It's week one, extended spring training, some rust out there, some guys playing an amount of snaps they're just not ready and their bodies aren't ready for. You see a lot of soft tissue injuries and some things like that around the NFL as well, because and it's just a little bit tough to gear up in week one, especially if you're not playing a lot of preseason football. You're just not, dying. People are gassed out there getting IVs and cramps and in the second half of some of these games. I want to move on to some of these other divisional matchups that were really good ones in close football games, namely the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just getting by the Atlanta Falcons 23-20 and the Cincinnati Bengals hanging on to defeat the Browns 17-16. And again, it's when you look at the Bengals Browns, it's like, man, the Browns shouldn't hang with the Bengals, but they're able to. It's not a great sign for Cincinnati.
No, I would, again, if I was Cincinnati, I would not feel good about, yes, a win is a win. And trust me, we've been saying that in Pittsburgh today too, but I'm not sure they were the better team. And I'm not even sure the Steelers were the better team than the Jets. Cincinnati had 7 yards of offense in the second half. 7. And Burrow was getting hit a lot, and I didn't feel like their defense turned any kind of corner. And I thought the Browns got a lot out of keeping Higgins and Chase real contained. And I thought the Browns were the better coach team and probably the better team of the two.
It was very similar with the 49ers and the Seahawks too. It was I termed it that the Niners went into Seattle and stole one away because, a couple interceptions from Brock Purdy. They weren't able to run the ball. They got beat up front by the Seattle Seahawks defense, but I think Robert Saleh just made a massive improvement. Like, it's so important.
You just feel his presence.
Yeah, you feel his presence, and having a lot of young players playing on the defensive side of the ball, and they were just up to the challenge there.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge boon for the San Francisco 49ers if they can figure out on the defensive side of the ball, and offensively, when healthy, it's going to be fine with Kyle Shanahan. Felt similar that, okay, if you watch just one team, they didn't play their best ball and they were able to get out with a win is a huge W, especially within the division.
And I think there's something to be said for that. I mean, the Bengals, the Steelers, the Niners won a lot of games in the last couple of years, and those coaches, I think, know how to get those wins even when you don't have your fastball. I paid a lot of attention to Niners, Seahawks, because Seattle's coming here next week, so I kind of looked at it through a different lens. And I thought the same thing about the Niners, and you didn't even mention Kittle gets hurt right off the bat too. And I'm like, man, he's gonna have a huge day. I have on my fantasy team, caught a touchdown. He gets hurt right away. It's like, oh no.
At least he got his fantasy owners like 12.5 points before he left.
At least he got the touchdown. Yeah,
looking out for. But what happened to the 49ers offense when he left the game? That was it. They didn't score a touchdown until the very end of the game with just a prayer throw from Brock Purdy, and Tonjes, who would never cut a touchdown pass in his life, is out Tariq Woolen to catch the game winner.
It felt like Montana to Clark in that part of the court, right?
I've seen some pictures where it's like the similar angle.
Oh, yeah. I get it. But it's just a couple Seattle notes that really stood out to me is I think their defense is awesome and could only do so much. But Seattle had 22 minutes time of possession, and Darnold did not handle pressure well. That O-line doesn't look close to fixed. And then the other crazy number, the 22 numbers of time of possession. But like every pass went to Jackson Smith-Njigba. He had a target share of like 60%. Yeah, the entire offense.
It was only Jackson Smith-Njigba, or they didn't move the ball.
Or they didn't move the ball, right. Yeah. Anything good on offense was him, and everything else was bad.
A lot of work to do. A lot of work to do for a lot of these football teams. There's one football team that I'm not sure if there's enough work to be done to help what the Miami Dolphins looked like.
They were the worst team of the week.
And Micah Parsons makes his debut for the Green Bay Packers in a big-time divisional matchup. Next. This episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by Game Time. To put it simply, if you are a sports fan, you got to have the Game Time app in your pocket ready to go. If you're ever wanting to go to a comedy show or a fan of music, want to go see a concert, you got to have Game Time in your pocket, ready to go. And with the NFL season back, there's nothing better than being at the stadium, surrounded by fans, cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle. Between queues, login screens, prices jumping at checkout, it's so frustrating. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all the fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay, and you can get some phenomenal last-minute tickets for sporting events, for concerts, And man, some amazing deals on NFL games. As hot as those tickets are early in the season, talking about going to see your favorite NFL games for as low as $100. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Micah Parsons, he wasn't a big factor in this football game. He was, the plan was to bring him along slowly. He just showed up and play a limited number of snaps. You could feel him though, and what a heavyweight fight that is with maybe the best tackle and the best pass rusher in the NFL in Micah Parsons versus Penei Sewell. Some really good matchups there in the run game, in the pass game. So that was fun to see. And the Packers look like they are ready to be a problem, and the Lions have some growing pains right now with trying to replace both of their coordinators, and it looked like it. It looked a little bit different on offense than we've seen from the Lions recently, albeit on the road playing against a good team in the Green Bay Packers. 27-13 the final.
It's only week one, Matt. It's only week one. It's one game. If this is one baseball game, nobody would care. I can't say that enough. But this game felt like, the Lions window might be closing faster than we thought, and they missed their chance over the last couple of years to get that ring that this organization never did, because it was a division game and they got beat bad by a team whose window's wide open right now, especially with Parsons. Gary's making more plays. Defense is flying around. Like Cooper's a really good player all of a sudden. Hamilton, they're the safety. And McKinney, and those guys are just a really good defense. And Parsons is only going to get more and more inserted in there. And you're right, you could feel his presence. And the offense was humming. I mean, a lot of big plays. Love looked really good. I don't think they're the best team in the league, but Green Bay made a case.
Oh, they absolutely made a case. Jordan Love, we talked about some big-time quarterbacks making big-time throws. Jordan Love made some big-time throws in this game.
Big-time throws.
And really just we talked about all offseason, and it's been this way for a while for the Packers. Like, okay, who's going to be the number one target? Just no idea still. 4 targets, 5 targets, 2 targets.
Right.
Is it going to be Golden? He only had 2 targets in this game. Kraft's going to be involved. Wicks is going to be involved. Jaden Reed's going to be involved out of the slot. But he's got the foot issue. Did get the touchdown. Romeo Doubs was targeted 4 times. He had the big one for 48 yards down the field, which was a phenomenal throw from Jordan Love. So,
big time throws. So you're right.
It just whoever's open, it's just going to be that kind of an offense, which is a good thing too. But it's just for the fantasy players out there, it's like, who do I own? I have no idea. And
Josh Jacobs was fine, but you'll take all of them. I thought Kraft was going to blow up, and he was good, but it's a nice way to live though, because I like all those guys, and I think the quarterback's taking a step forward too.
So no Ben Johnson on offense, and no Frank Ragnow. 2.1 yards per carry with the two-headed monster of David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs.
The running game worries me a little. Yeah, and it just seemed like nothing was as crisp on offense or as clean, and maybe. Just one game, Matt. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but you just know the coordinator changes happened, and we'll see what Johnson does tonight. But I thought the defensive coordinator for the Jets was doing splendid work, and you could see why he'd be missed. And I bet the same is true in Chicago tonight.
The
Dolphins stink, by the way.
What's that?
The Dolphins stink, by the way. You kind of tease that.
I don't know what Tua was bad throwing the ball to the other team.
The Indianapolis Colts went in there
and just acted like they were defending champs going against some team that just had the number 1 pick in the draft. This game was not close. It was one-sided early, and it stayed one-sided. They did put up a little bit of a fight and got some fourth quarter points, but a 51.7 rating for Tua, 14 of 23, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. Everything looked off and bad for the Miami Dolphins in this game, offensively, defensively. And Daniel Jones, the new starter for the Colts, rolls in like it was nothing.
Yeah, I think they scored on every possession.
33-8 was the final. Yeah, every possession, like, put up a fight, Dolphins. What's going on?
Yeah, and I don't mean to make this one-sided, because good for you, Colts. You destroyed this team at home, and Jones was fine, and they played really, really well, obviously. But this one to me is more about, oh no, what's going on in Miami? I mean, vibes have been bad for a while. What's Tyreek's story? Is he losing his mind? The O-line was terrible. Is this a coach on the hot seat? I mean, I'm concerned about Miami in a big way. And again, this one's not just one game, Matt, don't worry about it. No, this one was like a giant red flag of this team might stink.
49ers fans have been missing Mike McDaniel for a long time, former coach under Kyle Shanahan, and 49ers fans were giddy. They're like, oh, cool, we'll get Mike McDaniel back before midseason.
Now, him and Saleh back, you guys would be thrilled.
Yeah, you get the whole game back.
Let's just run it back. You guys, it was nice seeing you took off for a couple of years. Come on back,
Go get the gang back together and go lose the Super Bowl. Right.
That's what you did. Right. Allen or Lamar or Mahomes. Right.
I think maybe Rams Texans is the last one that we've got to highlight here. An odd score, 14-9. Is the Rams defense that good, or can the Texans offense only muster 3 field goals in a game with 9 points?
Didn't get much out of Nico. Didn't get much out of the run game. I got the impression watching this game that both O-lines were bad, but Houston's was as bad as ever. Again,
which
one game. I'm not.
That's the only thing you really needed to do in the offseason. And if you didn't get it fixed, it's just going to be one of those years again.
And I'll be honest, this was one of my favorite bets because I thought it would be very low scoring. Both defensive lines would rule the day. Houston's getting points more than, I think they're getting 4.5 or 3.5 on the road. I'm like, this game's going to be close. So my logic was right, but not enough, and Stafford was okay. Nakua was really, really effective on like a per touch basis too. So let's not discredit the Rams.
Yeah, big win. A win is a win is a win is I think what you learned from week 1, whether you have playoff aspirations or not. And I think some of these teams do and some of them don't. And we want to hear from you. Let us know what your biggest takeaways are for week 1, whether it's your team or another team that you watched, and get involved in this week's mailbag at BD Peacock, at Williamson NFL, or in the YouTube comments. And we got another game to finish off week 1 that we'll break down on tomorrow's episode, and whatever else is going on in the league, we have it covered for you as we do every day right here, Peacock and Williamson.